Edge designations, CFA Level 2 study program for the 2022 exam cycle. We start off with a bit of an introduction and an action plan for CFA Level 2 2022. Okay, we start off over here. The purpose of this video is to take you through what you can expect from 2 points of view. Number one, from the point of view of the CFA Institute, and number two, what edge designations as a prep provider can help you with. Let's start off first and foremost with the CFA Institute and their study program and their exam for 2022. Just a brief intro as we start. Number one, always important to remember, we almost, as if we can say that, but we are almost going back to normal with the CFA Level 2 program like we were in the past. And CFA Level 2 is now going to be written twice a year. Very important to remember. I get a lot of calls from students saying that they're going to be writing on so-and-so dates under the assumption that CFA would be written 3 times. But going into 2022, Level 1 will be written 4 times. Level 2 and Level 3 will be written twice. The first writing we can write for CFA Level 2 will be Feb 2022, and then almost 6 months later, the August 2022 writing. Level 3 guys will write their first paper. The first opportunity to write in 2022 will be in May 22, and then again November 22. So again, CFA Level 2 and CFA Level 3 will only be allowed to write twice in 2022 as opposed to the 3 times that they wrote in 21. Just a very brief one. Let's start and have a quick look at what your exam will look like in CFA Level 2. No change, guys, from what it looked like in 21. Okay, very important to remember, of course, I'm sure everybody's aware, your paper will be completely CBT. CBT is computer-based testing. Coming into the paper, let's just have a quick look at the format, guys. Okay, your first 30 minutes as you come into the paper will be a pledge tutorial survey, just a little bit of a showing you how the system works. But remember, we're also going to show you how the system works, as does the CFA Institute, to give you a little bit of practice on a computer for those that are not yet familiar how the system works. Okay, you start your exam, and this is a bit of a change, and I'm going back a little bit further to when it was paper-based. It used to be 180 minutes. Okay, it used to be a 3-hour paper. Now it's gone down to 135 minutes, which is 2 hours 15. Okay, and that's both for exam session number 1 as well as for exam session number 2. Both of those will be 2 hour 15 exams, which makes it a little bit easier to manage than the historical 3-hour papers, which was a little bit long. And remember, you used to write both of the papers, exam 1 and 2, on the same day. So 6 hours of writing was quite long. They've taken it down to actual writing time between exam session 1 and exam session 2 to 2 hours 15 each, 4.5 hours in total. Okay. How does the system now work in terms of the exam? Okay. Coming out of CFA Level 1, everyone was familiar with how the CFA Level 1 system worked. You had tons and tons of little questions. Okay, and each question was almost a standalone question. If you knew the answer, great. If you didn't, it didn't really matter. You had 90 seconds to answer each CFA Level 1 question, after which you moved on and to the next one, hopefully having answered the previous one correctly. If not, it didn't matter because there was no real linkage between the questions. Coming to CFA Level 2, the system is different. Yes, it still all is completely MCQs, multiple choice questions, but the format is slightly different. It's almost a bit of a case study type of vignette system. Now, for those that are not familiar with the vignette, what that means is before your question, okay, you're going to get a big story. Now, those big stories are long stories. They could be a page and a half, even going on to 2 pages sometimes. That is what we call a vignette, or the case facts. Okay, that is the format of asking. So number one, you're going to get a vignette, a nice long story, a page, page and a half, 2 pages, followed by multiple choice questions on the story. Now this is where it differs, of course, from CFA Level 1, is because the multiple choice questions that you get following the story, it's not one multiple choice question, it's 4 or 6 multiple choice questions. Okay, and of course they all relate to the vignette or to the story that came before that. The thinking of the CFA, the way that they want to go, remember in the past, those are, unfortunately for those that have been in the system, the CFA Level 2 system for a while, probably due to COVID and other delays, okay, probably used to that, there used to be 6 questions per MCQ, sorry, per vignette. There used to be a story followed by 6 questions. CFA have changed that now, and now they're making 4 questions, slightly shorter vignettes, slightly shorter stories, followed by 4 MCQs behind them. But there is a little bit of a residual on the 6 MCQs following a vignette. So there are still some of those. The intention of the CFA is to move completely to only having 4 questions at the end of every vignette, not 6. So currently, as it stands, there is going to be a little bit of weighting still on the 6 questions, but the majority of the weighting is likely to be on the 4. So if you have to look at what will your exam most likely look like, most likely look like it's going to be 8 stories, 8 vignettes, followed by 4 MCQs behind that. That will give you a total of 32 MCQs, and then probably only 2 vignettes or stories that will be followed perhaps by 6 MCQs following them, giving you 12 MCQs, giving you a total in both papers of 44 MCQs, and that's how we make up the number over there. So there is your 44 MCQs that you can expect in your final paper. 44 in the morning. We used to call it the morning session. Now we just call it exam session 1, because in fact you could end up writing that exam session in the afternoon and take your second paper a little bit into the evening. Okay, it's no longer morning and afternoon papers. It's just because they are computer based, you'll get your time to write and you'll write at that particular time. Of course, guys, between paper exam session 1 and exam session 2, you do get a 30-minute break, which is optional, but I do strongly suggest that you do take that break, clear your heads, clear your minds, and then get back into exam session number 2. Okay, so there are your 44 questions, MCQs. When we say 44 MCQs, it's not really 44 MCQs, although it is, of course, but it's really 10 questions, 10 stories, 10 vignettes, okay, on all of the material that is covered. Okay, and that's exam session 1 and exam session 2. There we go. Those are your, that's the structure of your paper. Let's move on a little bit over here, guys. How does CFA Level 2 change a little bit from CFA Level 1? Remember, you're going to have exactly the same topics that you had in CFA Level 1. For example, you had ethics in Level 1, you've got ethics in Level 2. Economics, quants, it's exactly the same. Of course, guys, for those that are aware, that will change in CFA Level 3. Okay, those topics won't be exactly the same as they have been for you in Level 1, Level 2, but Level 1 and Level 2 are carbon copies in terms of the 10 topics. I'm just going to take you across to the next page and show you the 10 topics. I'm sure we are all familiar with these already. Here we go. You've got ethics, you've got quants, economics, financial reporting analysis, which is called FRA. We'll see there's been a little change to FRA, really just cosmetic. Instead of, if you have looked at the new syllabus for 2022, you may say it's not called FRA anymore. You would be right. That's called financial statement analysis. So they've just changed the word reporting at both levels, both level 1 and at level 2. Corporate finance, also there's been a bit of a change in terms of what it's called. They're calling it corporate issuers now. Try to keep it a little bit to what it was before we go through the changes. We'll keep it looking like this. Then, of course, as per normal, we've got our 4 asset classes: equity, fixed income, alternatives, and derivatives. And interesting enough, that those 4 asset classes will carry through into CFA Level 3. So it's quite important that as we build our knowledge base from CFA Level 1 onwards, we do take that with us, CFA Level 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, we conclude with Portman on the back end. But as you can see, here are your 10 topics that are exactly the same as you would be familiar with them from CFA Level 1. Interestingly enough, guys, the exam weightings, okay, will be carbon copy for 2021 going into 2022. So yes, there are quite a few changes that we see relating to the syllabus from 2021 to 2022. And the reason for that, guys, why there's so many changes, remember that from 2020, normally what would have happened going into 2021, there would have been a whole batch of changes year on year. But remember, in 2021, due to COVID, CFA decided not to make any changes from the syllabus from 2020. So the first changes that in fact we're seeing in I don't know what you call it, syllabuses, syllabi, call it what you wish, okay, is going to be from 2020 all the way to 2022. So there's a bit of a catch-up, there's a bit of a 2-year catch-up that we need to make for all 3 levels. So you can expect anyone writing in 22 to undergo many changes. Having a look at some of the numbers over here, guys, okay, 441 learning outcome statements, very similar to what it was in the past. 47 readings, if memory serves. I think there were 48 readings last year, so not much of a difference. And 17 study sessions again. That's carbon copy what there was last year in 2021. So not too many changes in the overall, the big structure, but in the minutiae and in the notes, yes, we are going to find that there are going to be quite a couple changes, and we have to go through those as we go through. And of course, we will address those one by one by one. Okay. Just a little bit of, I want to take you back like I promised, okay? And just in terms of the difference in level 1, level 2, it's very important to remember coming into level 2, the way you studied for CFA level 1 may well have been successful. Well, clearly it was successful because you're in CFA level 2. But we do need to change things up a little bit in level 2, how we study, and of course, a massive change in approach for CFA level 3, but that's still coming. We can deal with that in its time. When you look over here, okay, at the CFA level 2 changes, it's much more about not, often people refer to CFA level 1, I've heard it called investment trivial pursuit. There's just so many little questions that you've got to get right, okay? And if you get it, great. If you don't, you move on. You've got 90 seconds a question for CFA level 1, and away you go. Level 2 is different. Level 2 is much more focused. It's much more about the process, much more thinking, much more detailed, much more integrated than it has been in CFA level 1. Very important. And you just need to take that in. And remember, in total, you are likely to get a total of 20 stories, okay? 10 stories in exam 1, in exam session 2, another 10 stories, giving you a total of 20 stories, giving you a total of 88 MCQs, 44 in exam 1, 44 in exam 2, okay? And so you can see it's quite concentrated. If we're going to be only giving you 10 stories in exam 1 and 10 in exam 2, it's really 20 big sections they can examine. So you've got to be quite into your various sections. A lot of students say to me, well, can you leave anything out? And I say you can. Of course you can leave stuff out, but you do so at your peril. Because remember, if you leave out one section, and that is an examined section, which could quite easily be, you run into a bit of trouble, don't you? Okay. So just keep that in mind. I don't like skipping any sections at all. And that's obviously why we always like to start a little bit early. A lot of guys say, well, should they write level 2 in 2022 in the Feb sitting, or should they try and push off to the May sitting? And I say, well, depending on your level of knowledge, how strong was your CFA level 1, etc., it's not a bad idea to take more time. Okay, there's no hurry. There's no hurry, unless of course you're in a hurry. But generally speaking, my advice is to take it a little bit slower and to build strong bases and fundamentals, particularly knowing that the CFA Level 3 is coming after Level 2, and yeah, it does require, it's a build, okay, on what you've seen thus far. We carry on over here, a little bit over here, guys. I'm not going to spend too much time, but just a little bit of a brief look at our approach at Edge to the work. We talk about the 4 C's, okay, and our first C is consistency, okay. I know there's a South African company, I'm trying to think what it is at the moment, skips my mind, but I think that their advert is consistency matters, which is lovely, which I think is exactly what I'm looking out for as well. And consistency is, I'm talking more about the consistency when I talk about the approach to work, that we work every day, okay? It's a consistent work. You know, the success of CFA, and I'm sure you guys, I don't need to be telling you this, of course, coming out of CFA Level 1, is everyday work. It's a slog, okay? Can you pass it with a big rush at the end? Perhaps. Not suggested. I prefer the consistent approach, and I always tell guys, every single day work. When I say every day, I mean every single day. From the time you commit to doing your CFA Level 2, you work every single day. Now, someone will say to me, but wow, every day. And I say every day. Now, what if you've got a migraine? What if you're having a terrible, horrible, disgusting, terrible, meaningless day? Hopefully you never have any of those. But if you do, we're all normal, and perhaps one has those days. When I ask of you, what's interesting in terms of my consistency requirement is put in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And you say, but that's silly. Okay, read a quick ethics question, that's silly. And I say no, because if you work every day, when tomorrow comes and you're feeling better and you're having a great day, okay, you carry on from where you left off, which was yesterday. You were still in the work. If you take yourself out of the work and you don't work for a day or two, it becomes consistently difficult to get back in. And if you don't work on day 1, then you're unlikely to work on day 2 and 3. And as I'm sure you guys are aware from CFA Level 1, the work snowballs. Okay, CFA is not hard, guys. It's not. There's you know, this is not quantum physics. Maybe until, of course, we get to the fixed income and the quant sections. But generally speaking, it's not rocket science, difficult stuff. It's not easy, but it's not. And I'm not trying to play it down at all, guys. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to minimize the work at all. But I see the difficulty much more in the volume of the work than in the specific difficulty. And how do we get around that? We've got to just keep slogging, working consistently. Okay, enough said. The second one is commitment. I'm going to try my absolute best. I will commit to try and spell this correctly, but my spelling is not, without my word spell check, I'm a bit at a loss. But I think that's how you spell commitment. 2 M's in there. But I don't need to tell you guys about commitment. If you're in the program, and you're in Level 2, you are most likely committed. I talk about the third C being concentration. It's not the word I want, actually, by the way. Okay, but it fits in with the C, so I needed to use it. And concentration is a little bit what Steve Jobs spoke about, is when you're in something, give it your full focus. Okay, it's focused learning. Focus might be a better word than concentration. Okay. What that means is I far would prefer 1 hour of focused, attentive work than 4 hours of saying, sure, I sat at my desk for 4 hours. What did you do? I don't really know. I just a couple questions. But you need that focus. Okay. And I would far rather that you had a good hour, okay, than a bad 4 hours. In other words, a focused, concentrated work session is far better than just sitting there and occupying a chair and saying, sure, I worked till midnight last night, but I was really too tired to work. So I would rather that you would put in a good hour, got an early night, and etc. The last one we talk about, okay, is calm. Calm is relaxed. Okay, it's just CFA. This is not the end of the world. There are other things that are also important. Okay. As we've seen coming out of the virus, well, hopefully coming out for those that are. The other C, the COVID, seems to have also a massive impact. So remember, it's just CFA. we keep calm, we keep relaxed. Okay, look after yourselves, keep going to the gym, keep exercising, eat well, don't give up on all your good things. Okay, mental health is very important, calm, relaxed, and dare I say, enjoy the process. Even find CFA a little bit enjoyable. There's some lovely stuff in here, guys. Okay, and if you're so busy, stressed, and worried about, are you going to pass, are you going to pass, well, you lose a little bit of the journey. Okay, keep calm, enjoy it. Okay. I have had other C's as well, which I don't like. Okay, some people say, can't we put in crying over there, C for crying, and no, we can't. That goes against my calm. Okay, some people want to put in the fifth C for eating lots of chocolate. I don't mind that as well. That you can put in if you like. If it makes you feel any better, go for it. Okay. We look over here. Okay, the exam itself, the Feb window, 22nd to 26th of Feb. So it's on the back end of February for those that are planning. August, we're waiting to see exact dates to be released. In terms of calculator policy, okay, the Texas Instruments is the calculator that we recommend, and most other prep providers teach on that one as well. Very few, to my knowledge, are teaching on the Hewlett-Packard 12C, albeit, yes, that it is an allowed calculator. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much more time over there, and I'm just going to look over here, guys, at the back end over here to show you what you can expect, what's in the EDGE program. Okay, we run, and I'll just write them out here for you, 3 major options that we give the students, followed by 2 others as well. So if you go onto our website, okay, it'll be www.edgedesignations.com. That's our website, and you'll see on the website the first 3 options are the key. So there's option number 1, there's option 2, and there is option 3 as well. Just important, and I'm going to take the opportunity, if you're still watching the video by now, then I'm sure you're still very interested in CFA Level 2, so let me just explain to you fully about what we can offer. Okay, in terms of the EDGE program. Option number 1 is you get a complete set of notes. Okay. And we cover each and every single learning outcome statement, every single one, and that's why you can see up top here when I look at you, I can tell you how many there are because we go through each and every single one. Okay, so you get a complete set of notes. Option 2, you get notes as well, same notes. They are called the EDGE notes, completely comprehensive set of notes. Do you need the CFA notes as well? I say no, but I say no with a caution, because if you do have the time, the CFA notes are fantastic, instructive, and very, very well written. So I say no with a little bit of a caution. I'm talking mainly for people that are under time duress, time stress, because the CFA notes are very, very long, but very, very extensive. So that would be first prize. Yes, the CFA actual material. People don't often have time for that. Are the notes then sufficient, the EDGE notes? Yes, they are. Okay. We've also got summaries in here for you, and that'll be an option 2 as well. Okay. Questions. Okay. We give you the questions at the end of the chapters, at the end of the readings as well. But we also, in terms of the questions, I'm just going to change color over here just to highlight it for you. We've also got an intuitive Q bank that you get as well when you purchase option 1 or option 2. It's an intuitive Q bank, but remember, a lot of guys ask me, are they new questions? No, they're not. They're exactly the same questions that you would get in a manual form as well. Okay, CFA Level 2 is a lovely offering that we do have at the moment. We've got a couple thousand. I think we're up to about 3,000 questions over there, so they are quite detailed. There's a formula sheet in there as well. Okay, and the key, which a lot of the students love, okay, are on every single one of these of the notes. Okay, we've got videos. So The videos are extensive as well. A lot of people prefer to watch the videos. You're probably going to get 60, 80, 100 hours worth of video, something in that range. We're not finished recording everything yet for CFA Level 2, okay, due to the changes. We're working through them, but there's plenty of stuff available for students to get started. Okay. So that's basically what you get from option 1 and option 2. Complete set of notes, summaries, question banks, videos on everything, formula sheets, etc. So then what is the difference between option 1 and option 2? Option 1, I'm going to change color again. Okay. A Zoom. Okay. And what is Zoom? Okay. The Zoom sessions are sessions that we run once a week, hour and a half to 2 hours, where we bring the students to the classroom, to the virtual classroom, and we go through, for example, if that week we were covering, for example, ethics, what we'll do is I always tell the students the Zoom sessions belong to the students. So you can ask whatever you like that has been troubling you in the Zoom sessions. I always say to the guys coming into those Zoom sessions, I expect you to have covered, for example, as I said, if we're covering ethics, I assume that you have covered ethics via the notes, summaries, and questions already. And you're really coming to the Zoom session to ask additional questions that perhaps you didn't understand. If there's not too many questions that are asked, I then go through things like exam type questions, things like that, to try and bring that to the table, to try and add value to the students. So remember, the only difference between option number 1 and option number 2 is the Zoom sessions. What then is option number 3? Option number 3 is a brand new item, okay, and we call this the revision and exam program. So what do you get over here? You get a revision pack, a complete revision pack of notes, and you get videos, approximately 24 hours worth of videos on that revision pack. That's how we work. We always do the videos in all 3 options based on the notes or on the revision pack notes or on the actual notes, and then you get 6 exams as well. So as you can see, option 3, often students buy that package at closer towards exam time. But you would either buy option 1 or option 2, either one of those, not both, okay, because they're a carbon copy of each other. Depending on if you want the Zoom option, you would go for option 1. If you don't and you want a purely online offering, you would go for option number 2. Option number 3 is a revision pack. If you look on our website, we've got other options as well. Options 4 and 5, you can just, if you would like, further options. We've got a notes only pack if you just want to buy notes. We've got a QBank offering only as well if you just want to buy the QBank, which is the electronic QBank. As you go down, you'll look on our website. Everything is there available for you. Just to answer some other questions we often get, and I'll just change my color here again. I'm running out of colors, but let's just see if we can find another one. Okay. Notes are in PDF format. Okay, all the notes are in PDF format, the revision notes, everything in PDF format, so it's easily printable should you wish. If you don't wish, it's available nicely in PDF format. And all the videos, no matter which ones you're looking at, whether they are for the revision pack or the online offering, are available in YouTube format. So again, a nice and friendly format. Of course, we don't put too many protections in place. My fellow providers tell me I'm a fool in doing it, and maybe I am, I don't know. I've got a little bit of faith in the student body, maybe too much faith, and we of course we appeal to your integrity and to your ethics not to share these not in PDF or YouTube format with your friends. Of course, we do have some protections in place. We're not that completely trusting, but yes, for the most part it is fairly simple. I know some providers you can print one page at a time or something like that. That's not the case here. You can print as you like. You can download them onto your other various devices to use as you need them. But of course, we just say please don't share those with family, friends, etc. Okay, that brings me to a conclusion of just that little bit that I was looking at in terms of just a basic introduction. What I want to do is I want to just have a look now at some of the changes year on year. Okay, we move to the next sheet. So let's have a look. Let's have a look over here. CFA Level 2 2022. Let's have a look at some of the changes that have come in from 2021. And when I say 2021, I'm not really meaning 2021. What I really mean is 2020, because remember, 2020 was the last time that we had a new syllabus. Normally going into 2021, there should have been a revision, and then of course there would have been a revision again for 2022. Remember, they didn't revise anything in 2021 as a result of COVID. So we are going to have to take in 2022 2 years worth of changes. Let's have a look over here, some of the changes. Okay, dark orange, a new reading. Light orange, revisions to the existing readings. Okay, now if you have a look over here, quants, everybody's favorite topic. Okay, the three big ones are still there. Introduction to linear regression used to just be a reading on simple regression, okay, which of course then moved into multiple regression and time series. They're all essentially the same thing. There are going to be some revisions. Yes, it looks like it's a whole new rewrite, this intro to linear regression. But remember, something to remember, and hopefully this will ease and calm your nerves a little when you look at the changes that have been made, is when we talk about these big changes, remember, you can rewrite linear regression 100 times, but it's still going to be simple regression. It is what it is. That when I say simple regression, I'm not being sarcastic that it's simple. I'm sure you knew that. It really is that it's linear regression with a single variable as opposed to multiple regression. Okay, but it is what it is, and you can't make that many changes to something that, particularly not quants, because quants doesn't change much, particularly not quants. So is that a new write? Is it a new reading? Yes, it is. By the way, it was also put into CFA Level 1. Okay, carbon copy then going into Level 2, but Level 2 had it before. Not many changes at all. Multiple and time series, again, guys, fairly simple, fairly straightforward to what we've seen before. Little changes over there, but again, if you had to study quants in CFA Level 2 last year and this year, you're not going to experience many changes. Okay. One thing that you will notice, and I'm not sure if the CFA is having a good laugh at the prep providers when they did this, or for what purpose they did this, I don't know. But you'll notice that for the first time in many, many years, ethics isn't the very first study session. Ethics, I'm going to take you right to the back end. Ethics has now found its place on the bottom of the pile. It's now study session 17. I don't know why. Okay, I loved it when it was in the beginning because it set a most wonderful tone for the work that we were going to do. But be that as it may, it is what it is, and okay. So don't think when you see over here, when you start looking at the CFA Level 2 2022 syllabus and you think to yourself, perhaps ethics is not there. No, ethics is very much there. Carbon copy, almost what it was in the past, but it's on the back end, and they've done that for all the levels. Not sure why. Okay. Economics, the same. Financial reporting and analysis used to be called FRA. They made a massive change. They called it FSA, not FRA. So that just messes us up a little bit because everyone used to call it FRA. Now I don't know what we're going to call it because FSA doesn't sound so fancy as FRA did, but it is what it is. It's called Financial Statements Analysis. Okay. Corporate finance, again, has had a name change, and now it's called Corporate Issuers. Okay, just in case you were getting comfortable with corporate finance. Okay, it's now Corporate Issuers. Equity stays the same as it was. As you can see, not many changes there at all. but fixed income has had quite a bit of a rewrite. As you can see, all those 5 readings that were there in the past are all there again. Okay, so no meaningful change in the topic matter, but a little bit of changes within them. As you can see, I've highlighted those as being all light orange. Okay, and people often ask me, why do you use colors? And I say, I use colors. They say, does it help the students? I say, I hope it helps the students, but more important, it helps me to try and figure out where I am. CFA Level 1 is blue, CFA Level 2 is orange, and green is CFA Level 3. And then, of course, I move to different colors when we move across to the FRM and CAIA designations. So I've got 7 colors I work with. I like to call them my 7 primary colors, but I'm not sure any art person would agree with that. Okay, they are my primary colors. That's what I do all day and every day. Okay, with their derivatives, carbon copy stays the same. Alts, you can see alts has gone down by 1. There used to be 2 real estate readings, okay, and now they've combined that into 1 new written reading. But again, guys, we teach real estate specifically as part of the real assets section in CAIA, and real estate is real estate is real estate. We value things using the net operating income approach generally. Okay, we've got a capitalization rate, a cap rate. It's all the same stuff. There's homogeneous, heterogeneous, lumpiness with respect to real estate. We know all these terms, guys. I hope I'm not confusing anybody. We know all these terms. So yes, reading 35, real estate investment is a rewrite, but not a but again, real estate is real estate is real estate. Again, you should not find anything there that should upset you overly as being something completely new that's introduced. Okay, we move along to Portman. Okay, Portman has now got an extra reading. There used to be 6 readings in Portman. There's now 7. What's the extra one? It's reading 41, which is over here. We'll talk about that in a second. Backtesting and simulation. Backtesting and simulation could quite have easily found its way into the quant section. Quite easily. Okay. In terms of, if you look back at the quant section, we've got machine learning and big data. So it could have found its way there quite comfortably, yet it's in Portman. I'm quite happy for it to be in Portman as well. I think it is appropriate, but very much a case of quantitative look at portfolio management. It's a brand new reading. It's a lovely reading. Okay. As for the rest of Portman, it's all exactly like it was before. Slight rewritings a little bit for ETFs and multi-factor models. As for the rest, it's the same. In terms of ethics, as I said earlier, ethics comes now on the back end. Not sure why, but it does. Okay, and again, ethics, interestingly enough, for CFA Level 2 is the thinnest ethics syllabus out of all of the 3 levels, much less so than Level 1 and much less so than Level 3. Okay, you've got your code and standards, SPC, and then you've got guidance. They've made a bit of a change over here. They've put in a few new case studies, application of the code and standards for Level 2. Nothing meaningful to write home about over there. Okay, and here's all your statistics, guys. Let's have a quick look. 10 study sessions. Sorry, not 10 study sessions. 10, call them what you wish, big topics. Same 10 topics that you get in CFA Level 1. 17 study sessions. 441 learning outcome statements. And 47 readings. That's just the raw data. Okay. And the last little bit that I just want to deal with before we close off our session, okay, is just to have a quick look over here for those that would like it. It is also available on the website, the timetable. And you say, well, why is there a timetable? The timetable is a good indication of what you should be finishing by which points in time, and it's also a very good indication, guys, for those that are attending the Zoom sessions. For example, you'll see 14th of September we have a session on equities. Now what I would always suggest, so the session is on the 14th of September. We will be covering study session 8 and 9. It's a Tuesday, time 5:30, okay, in the afternoon, okay. And being on the 14th of September, you can prepare yourself a little bit to know that you should be ready for that session and have completed whatever we're going to be covering. What are we going to be covering? Study sessions 8 and 9 by the 14th of September, to be able to attend this Zoom session to get maximum value out of the session. Okay, that then brings us to a conclusion of the session where we're at. Okay, hopefully I've given you a bit of a look at what is CFA Level 2, also what CFA brings to the party, hopefully what Edge as a prep provider can bring to the party. I will leave you with some detail. Number one, I will just give you an email address for those that wish to make any contact or have any questions. Okay, at ebs.co.za. That is my personal email address. Okay, if you want. Okay, there we go. And I'll also give you just the website, okay, address as well, www.edgedesignations.com should you wish to go and visit there and have a look at some of our offerings. On that note, we will close off the session, wishing everybody much success in their CFA Level 2 journey, and hopefully we will catch up with you guys soon.